It looks like the housing market is finally picking up steam again, with mortgage applications increasing to 7.4% since last month. So the big question is it time to buy a house in 2023? 2020 and 2021 was absolutely ridiculous with the housing market. Demand was at an all-time high, with people offering over $100,000 over listing price just to be considered to buy their dream house. But since 2022, things have took a massive change. During this time, the Fed was just printing trillions of dollars and injecting it into the market. Borrowing money was just absolutely dirt cheap, with most people being able to lock down a sub 3% on their mortgage loan. This was a good thing for them. However, this actually really shot up the prices of houses to where the average folk wasn't even able to afford to buy a house anymore. They were priced out of the market. This is what we call hyperinflation. So in order to get this under control, the Fed had to begin to raise interest rates back up, and this is what made a major turn in the housing market ever since early 2022, where rates were hovering around that 3 to 4%. It really shot up quite quickly, peaking out in October to November at over 7%. However, since November of 2022, the interest rates have actually slowly started to decrease from over that 7% down to the low 6%. Many people that were on the sidelines waiting to buy a house in 2022, but they were waiting to see what was actually going to happen, are now seeing this as an opportunity to jump back into the housing market and buy their house, because they don't know if interest rates are going to continue to stay this low. And if they continue to fall, of course they can always refinance, but if they keep going up, they might be priced out again. And this is exactly what we're seeing play out in 2023 as mortgage applications increase while rates fall. At the same time, people are also refinancing their mortgages, locking it down to the lower interest rates. This has been increasing by 18%. While those people that have actually bought a home, the average mortgage on a 30-year fixed rate is around $430,000. So if you were to go out and get a mortgage today, it would be likely that you would lock down a 6% interest rate. And actually, historically speaking, if you compare it to the past, 6% is actually very good, considering that some people were paying well over 10%, even into 16%. So 6% is very good, but it's still a far cry from the 3% we were able to get just a few years ago. So if you were to go out there and search for a home, you might actually run into an issue where inventory is low. And this is mainly because the people that would have been selling their house now are choosing not to sell their house now. They're actually locked into their house. And this is mainly because they were able to get that sub 3% loan. And so if they were to go out and sell their house now, you got to put yourself in their shoes. Essentially, they would be losing out on that very low interest rate, only to buy another house and pick up a interest rate double the amount than what they had. And this is the exact situation we're all dealing with now in the housing market, is that those that already own a house are trapped in their house due to that low interest rate that they were able to get, as well as those that can afford to buy a house can't find the right house that they want because the supply is low. And also, many people are saying that this is probably one of the worst times to buy a house, because if you think about it, interest rates have climbed quite a bit. You know, they're actually pretty high if you compare it to just recent history. And at the same time, since supply is low, house prices haven't quite fallen as much as you would think. They actually have been staying high, so you're paying for high interest rates as well as high prices on the house. If I was in the position of buying a house in 2023, this would be a major concern of mine, and that is hearing all these companies laying off their employees. We hear it almost every day, companies laying off thousands of their employees, and this is mainly due to the Fed raising their federal funds rate. They've been raising the rate ever since 2022 into 2023, and they continue to raise rates. And Jerome Powell, he recently just said that it's likely that they're going to keep rates high all throughout 2023 and maybe even into 2024.
If you look at our forecasts, we expect 2023 to be a year of significant declines in inflation. But I would tell you that my guess is it will take certainly into not just this year, but next year to get down close to 2%.
This is putting tons of pressure on companies and their earnings and the demand. And so now they're starting to think maybe we can't afford to keep all of these employees.
Get inflation down from high levels that we've had. If you look at history, there is some softening in labor market conditions that goes along with that. And that is still very possible and indeed likely here.
So say you go out and buy a house early 2023, you pick up a $430,000 mortgage and you're paying it off. But as 2023 plays out, things are not looking good. The recession finally hits and a lot of people get laid off at their job. This is not a good situation. This is gonna put a lot of pressure on anybody in this situation, especially if they're not the type of person that saves money, that has a safety blanket for a rainy day. But of course, this is not what we're seeing at the moment. People are getting very interested, getting back into the housing market. They're submitting their mortgage applications. And so maybe now is a good time to buy since interest rates are low.
So if I wanted to go get a mortgage on a house I was going to buy, you would say I'm not going to be any better off waiting till next year than now because rates aren't going to come down that much at the beginning of next year, so I might as well get the house now.
Surprisingly enough, I get a lot of requests for advice on those kind of things.
And you don't give any?
And but I really can't.
Okay.
I really can't respond.
So,
But getting laid off at my job, not being able to afford the mortgage anymore would definitely be something that I would certainly consider if I was going out to buy a house. But now as we head into the housing season, which is usually around springtime, anywhere from March all the way to June, this is usually the time when a lot of houses are being put on the market when we're heading out of the new year and just before the holiday season. So this is going to be the time where a lot of houses will be put on the market. This is where a lot of people will be thinking about buying a house. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, that's about it for the video. If you enjoyed it, definitely hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below if you're thinking about buying a house in 2023. All right, my name is Jimmy Invest and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.